So for me, the angelic realm is really compressed of so many different angels, and the amount of angels that we have that will depend on where we are on our journey. So if somebody is going through a really big awakening in their lifetime, so they will need a whole army of angels, because some angels will protect, some angels will bring in things, some angels will uh, provide guidance, some angels will kind of maybe create a different path that the person can choose from. Now, when you upgrade to a certain frequency, you are able to connect with the divine for the next guidance, because before that you are kind of really living on the 3D dimension, and you're very much in the 3D, in the ego, right? And so when your frequency is upgraded to a higher standard or a higher frequency, you start receiving the message, because the angels can reach you. They can't reach you in the bottom layer because it's just too physical.
Greetings, seekers of ancient wisdom. We are back again to talk about a very interesting topic with our favorite guest, Pavli Naidoo. Pavli, how are you doing today?
Hi, Deepak. How are you? It's so lovely to be here again with you and your listeners. Thank you for the invite.
We love the messages. We love the messages that you bring to our audience. It has insight and guidance, just to help us along the way. And today we're talking exactly about that, because you have been doing angelic messages for, I would say, a good couple of weeks now, maybe a couple of months even, regularly giving people angelic messages just to help them navigate what they're feeling on a daily, weekly basis. So let's start with that. Who are the angels? I mean, we've heard of them in the Bible, we've heard of them in lots of different text and literature, but who are these angels?
So, to me, the angels are celestial beings that are that haven't ascended down to earth. So, their role is to be kind of guiding us from above and giving us the knowledge that they have, if we are ready and willing to listen. So, that for me is my interpretation of the angels.
And do different people, I mean, is there like one set of angels that look after millions of people, or is there one angel per person, or I don't know. How does that all work? I mean, it's so um, foreign to us, that haven't really studied angels. So how does it all come together?
Well, that's funny. I'm gonna giggle a little bit because it's not like I've studied this. So please, if anybody there has a different view on things, know that this is how I feel things. Okay, how I kind of get the messages, and so this is my interpretation of the angelic realm. So for me, the angelic realm is really compressed of so many different angels, and I believe that they also have a different ranking, so we have obviously the angels that are really close to God, whatever that is for you. And we also have so like Archangel Michael, for example, is the God's right hand angel, if I can call him that. Okay, so he's got direct access to God. So a lot of people, if they are struggling with something, they go to Archangel Michael because they know that he's in direct communication with God. So their message can kind of immediately reach God. They don't need to go through this channel and this channel and this channel. And we've got different angels for different things. So a lot of people will use these specific angels when they are praying for something specific in their lives. And you've asked a really beautiful question. Do we have one angel per person? So my experience is not at all. And the amount of angels that we have, I now believe through my journey that will depend on where we are on our journey. So if somebody is going through a really big awakening in their lifetime, they will need a whole army. I call it an army. So they will need a whole army of angels, because some angels will protect, some angels will bring in things, some angels will um, uh, provide guidance, some angels will kind of maybe create a different path that the person can choose from. So, and some people, yes, they will only have one. Now, there is also a difference between having angels as your protection and kind of like the army of angels. And there is also a difference between a guide and masters. So, masters, and I think we might have actually spoken about this a little bit in the past as well, so it's nice how everything is kind of coming back again for refresher, perhaps. Guides are someone that are there specifically for us. Okay, so our guides are usually people that have already passed, like our ancestors, that are now guiding us through the process, because they have a specific intention for our life, because we are part of their lineage. So let's give you an example. So if somebody in their lineage has a lot of trauma, let's say women trauma, okay, female, feminine trauma, maybe abuse, maybe sexual abuse even, the guides will be the ascended souls of the lineage that have gone through the trauma but weren't able to heal it, weren't able to do anything about it, change the situation. But they know exactly what the trauma is. And so they can come in and they can guide the person in their journey to almost make sure that the trauma is healed, if that makes sense. So I've got a couple of clients that I'm dealing with that will now use the same language that I use, which is so beautiful to see when they kind of start absorbing the language that I use, and then they kind of throw it at me, and you're like, doesn't actually sound so great when you use it on me, but it sounds great when I use it on you. And, it feels like nagging. And that's where I feel that the guides, a lot of the times, if you are meant to do something, if you are meant to shift something in your life, which then affects the lineage of the entire kind of family lineage, they will come and they will start giving you the messages to change this, or don't do this, or you need to stand up. And if you're not listening, that inner voice, and for some people they really hear the voice, some people see the angels or the guides, and some people will feel. And in whichever way it comes, it'll just be a repetitive thought, it'll be a repetitive message. So those for me are the guides, the descended souls of our lineage. And then you've got masters, and masters are very, very powerful celestial beings. So I believe that we have one master per person that is on earth. And this master is with you before you reincarnate. So the master is with you when you are contemplating what is your life lesson going to be for this lifetime. And they help you to maybe even kind of prepare the life, or maybe decide on better scenarios that can really help you to learn that lesson in this lifetime. And then when you are obviously then descending down and you are living here, then they kind of providing you with a little bit of a private guidance, if I can call it that. So they won't come in messages, but they kind of looking over you, making sure that you are doing the lesson that you have said. And what I've had experiences with in my kind of like past life regressions and regressions, where we trying to go and understand what is happening with this current lifetime, what the person needs to go through. There is always this one particular soul that takes you and spends a lot of time with you straight after, it's very close after you pass, and they go through the lifetime with you, and they kind of, like, I always feel of this person like a really nice Gandalf from Harry Potter, from Lord of the Rings. The really kind of very soft, very caring, very loving, but also very strong and extremely powerful being that then goes through the life and kind of helps you to understand where you could have done things differently and maybe what you need to do in your next lifetime if you haven't completed the lesson. And so that is the different entities, if I can call them that, celestial beings that are here kind of guiding our journey. I hope that answers the question.
I think you've even answered it way more than I could have expected. So you actually covered the three different types of celestial beings that support humans. We have the angels who are protecting us and changing the path, maybe, or helping the path. We have the guides, and I love the explanation of the guides being our ancestors who are needing us to release trauma in the lineage, right? I think sometimes we carry trauma from our parents and their parents and their parents. It comes through just by being born to them. So you're born with that trauma that they have. So they also need us to release it,
Somebody's
to
trying
release
to
it
say hi.
from themselves, right? Oh, look at that. We have a
Yeah.
partner
He came to say
to shed some.
hello. Yes. So he's got something to say to that.
Exactly. Probably resonated with him. Maybe he is one of the guides.
I'm sure he is.
And then you covered the masters, and the masters, again, very, very important to help us design our life. And this is some research I've also been coming into lately, that we design the lessons we want to learn in this life before we incarnate. So we decide, like, I want to learn this lesson, I want to experience this, I want to do that. And we sort of get it drawn up like a blueprint in a way. And maybe this is the masters that help us do that. And then once we're incarnated, they oversee this happening. It's so amazing, that we have such a team of people, angels, guides, and a master overseeing that. And and most people are so oblivious that this is even taking place. They're so unaware because they are not able to hear or listen or communicate with these entities. So let's get into that question, because how do you even know that they're talking to you? Okay, you did mention the guides where they come with a repetitive thought or repetitive thing that you need to deal with. But your angels and masters, how do they communicate with you? How do you even know that you're talking, or how do you know to listen? This is something I think people can really benefit from.
Okay, so I really hope that I'm going to be able to explain it so that the listeners can really understand it. But for me, it's the inner voice. It's the very subtle but very strong voice that comes, and there is no drama, there is no fireworks, there is no, you know, I don't know, trauma with it. There is no heightened energy, heightened emotion that comes with the message. It's literally just, and it comes from within. I always feel it almost like it's born in my stomach, if I can put it in that way. So so it comes and it just surfaces, and I think that in order for people to start to differentiate between whether this is an angelic guidance or it is a divine guidance, that's why I call it divine guidance, because then to differentiate whether this was an angel speaking and this was a guide speaking and this was a master speaking, it's very, very difficult. I think you have to be on a really incredibly high spiritual path. But for me, you have to really go through an ego, mm, if I can say, maybe where you reveal the ego to yourself. So you really have to go through very intense work with your ego self, because a lot of people tend to listen to the ego's message, which usually tries to be the first one to come into your mind when you are trying to look for guidance, right? So the ego will be like, me, 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 me. And it comes with this incredible, colorful message. Or it usually comes with, I don't know, I hear this so often from my clients in sessions. And I always say, that's not the answer. I don't know doesn't exist. The ego has created I don't know because that's an easy way out, right? If ego doesn't want you to do the hard work, your response to anything will be I don't know. And so you really have to go through a very intense work on your ego selves to start recognizing when it is the ego and when it is the angelic guidance, when it is the divine guidance. So I think the best way to describe it is that this is not something that is born here. Definitely not. This is usually ego. It needs to be felt, like your body needs to feel it. So, for example, if you have a question, maybe we can try this, Deepak. Are you in? Fantastic. Maybe listeners, you can also take this opportunity to try this little thing and maybe let us know in comments, how does it feel? You know, did you come out right? How did the voice feel for you? So if you've got a question that maybe you've been toying with for a while, Deepak, right? If there is something, maybe a guidance that you've been wanting to receive, or maybe the next direction in your podcast, I don't know. So I want you to ask the question. And before you do, I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose and just gently release through your mouth, letting go of whatever is going on up here, just really connecting with your body and ask that question. Whatever the question is for you, you can ask out loud, you can ask in your mind, it doesn't matter. And listen for the body's response. The body is going to give you the answer. And that answer that you will get, you cannot question. It's almost like like it has so much power in it that you really just cannot question it.
Okay, so this is a bit unfair because I do connect with my masters or my master on a regular basis because I've gone through a process of connecting with them and they had to upgrade my body. I don't know if we had this discussion, but I went through a period where I was very sick for a long time and I rarely get sick. But what happened when I was sick was I was getting a lot of phlegm out of my system, a lot of phlegm. So they were sort of doing something to my body to upgrade it, or I don't know, get the toxins and gunk and clean it, I guess, so for easier communication. So I talk to them regularly. So it's a bit unfair for me to do this experiment. But the question I asked, the question I want to ask, and I'm going to ask it. So I have a patient at the moment, and I'm really struggling with her. And I have tried. I mean, she is sort of recovering, but there's very, very deep issues that I need to tackle. And I think it's past trauma and past issues, mental dialogue. So my question is, I don't have the skills, I think, at the moment to treat this patient adequately. So how can I go about it?
So wait for the answer.
So I feel very, it's giving me a calm feeling that I shouldn't be too concerned. I'm on the right track and I do have the skills, but it is going to be something new that I haven't used before. But it is a skill that I have that I just need to uncover, so to feel. That's sort of what I'm feeling.
You nailed it. Because the message of I don't have the skills to treat this patient came from your ego, right? Where the ego is trying to tell you, you're not good enough for this. You can't do this. You've reached your point. You've exhausted whatever resources you've had. Give up now because this is not for you. Because the minute you start doubting yourself, your ego has won. right? And then to restart that process and get to the place where you are trusting your abilities is such a long and strenuous process. A lot of people will give up. If this happens once, twice, three times, eventually they give up. So we all have the skills. Every single one of us is born with all the skills. They might be on different levels, but we all have the healing power within us, because that's who we are. That's the energy that we are born from, is healing, right? So what you have to do is you have to, in your sessions while you are with your patients, you have to let go of the ego. And I remember when I started seeing patients or clients face to face, I went through exactly that. Unless there was a hectic emotional response and I saw tears, I would feel that I haven't done the work, right? I mean, it wasn't deep enough. Like, I need to get this client to cry. I mean, really? Like, this is how we feel that we have access to deep emotions, is when the person shows those emotions. And then we're like, okay, great. Well, I've done it, yay. So I would try to, really push this person to feel those emotions, because I didn't trust that it was what I was doing was good enough. Right. So I just want to say, can you see the ego's work? I mean, how incredible. We catching it in its work. We are bringing it into the light, and it's like, no, I don't want you to talk about it. I'm just going to disconnect randomly your Wi-Fi. And so it really is so incredible, guys, when we start paying attention and we start being in the space. You can see everything so clearly. You can see the game so clearly, that for anybody to then question what is happening, you have to be made from a different kind of flower, I think. So where were we, Deepak? Help me out here.
So I actually want to ask a question that I've had for a long time about angels, and maybe you can give some guidance. They talk about angel numbers, and you even mentioned it, I think, in one of your videos. And I've been seeing a lot of so-called angelic numbers everywhere: 1111, 22, 22, 10, 10. It's just everywhere. When I'm driving, looking at my phone, looking on the TV, looking at certain things, I just see these numbers so often. It can't be coincidence, because it didn't really happen before, years ago when I was younger, but now it's sort of happening a lot. And, when you go to Google and you ask, they say that they're angels communicating with you or giving you some messages or instruction. And then if you go Google the number, you can sort of see, oh, this 1111 means something, or whatever, 0505 means something else. So is this how they communicate? Is this one of their ways of communicating with us? And why so cryptic?
So yes, this is definitely one of the ways, and I'm glad you mentioned one of the ways that they communicate with us. Okay. And the reason why you are seeing that now and you weren't able to see it before is because you've upgraded. Now, when you upgrade to a certain frequency, you are able to connect with the divine for the next guidance. Because before that, you are kind of really living on the 3D dimension, and you're very much in the 3D, in the ego, right? And so when your frequency is upgraded to a higher standard or a higher frequency, you start receiving the message, because the angels can reach you. They can't reach you in the bottom layer because it's just too physical, So, and that's why very often people that have really low vibrational frequency don't have even guilt. They don't have shame. They don't feel sorry for people. They don't have the empathy, because they're vibrating at a frequency that is very, very physical. That's very ego driven. So you've got to move from that level into higher levels to be able to then receive the angelic guidance. And the angelic numbers, I love that. And as you said, you see them as well when you are driving. So I always look at number plates. And or you look at your dashboard and you've just done, I don't know, a 2,783 111,000 miles, 111 at the end. That's your angelic number. And so, or radio, you put it on and it's 1111, as you say. So any repetitive numbers, any double numbers will be. Milo, come here, boy. Sorry, we've got something happening outside. Um, so when you see those numbers, because it's double, it usually, or because it keeps coming at you, you eventually will be like, okay, well, what does this mean? Like, it keeps coming at me. Why does it keep coming at me? And when you start receiving the guidance, the angels are like, ah, finally, you've now tuned in with the way that we want to communicate with you. And they're going to start throwing the numbers at you. So you will then see the numbers everywhere and I can tell you, when I started reading into angelic numbers, when I started receiving the guidance, it is so spot on. It's not even funny. Like when I would be contemplating of, I want to see clients and I want to do the spiritual work, and, then there will be very beautiful messages of, we encouraging you, you are encouraged this, you are supported, do this because this is in line with your path. And when I would start procrastinating, the messages will start being like, you are not doing what you are supposed to be doing. Like, stop sitting, stop procrastinating. You need to do this now. This is the time. And I'll be like, ooh, they actually are listening, they actually can see what is happening. And so when you start tuning in with the guidance from the angels, you're going to find that your life becomes so much easier because you don't have to figure it out on your own. You've got a whole team behind you that is waiting to help you with whatever it is that you are dealing with. So coming back to your thing, I'm not sure how much of it has recorded before my internet decided to just blow on us. You have all the skills that you need, but you have to connect with your true soul level being, if I can call it that. It's a very weird description, but anyway, you really have to go within and you have to access your own wisdom and trust that whatever you're going to do, the client is coming to you because they know that you can help them. Otherwise, they won't come to you. We are spiritual helpers, right? We are spiritual healers. We are guides for some people on this earth. And therefore, the people that know that you specifically can guide them, they will come to you. The people that know that you can't do anything for them won't come to you, because why would they do that?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And the numbers and the messages definitely make sense because I feel I've gone through an upgrade of some sort. So that makes sense that now I can see the numbers more regularly, and that's them basically saying, here's a message, here's some support or encouragement, or like you say, when you're procrastinating or going on the wrong route, they very quickly will say, hey, that's the wrong route. Come back this way, or hey, stop wasting your time on that project. So it's very powerful, and you're right. It has made my life a lot more easier now that I have a better communication with my angels, guides, masters, etc. Because I don't have to really think too much except just showing up. I just have to show up. They're the ones in the background, doing all the hard work. Like a stage production. There's a whole team behind the stage. And when we watch a movie, we just see the actors, but behind the stage, there's directors and video people and sound people and lighting people and this, that, and you know, there's a whole team, like you said, doing that. And you, as the actor, I just see myself as an actor now. I just have to show up. I just have to show up to what they have planned.
And read the script from the director. That's basically all you do. You follow instructions.
It's really coming to that realization has really made my life so smooth. Like I have so much less to worry about. I'm not saying I don't worry. The worry is still there. I still have internal work to do. I still have issues to do. But I'm like, I'm not smart enough to understand what's going on with all the connections and the interactions and relationships and galactic stuff. So you just tell me what to do. I'll just show up and do the thing. So, like this podcast, for instance, there's times where it's very difficult for me to get up and do this. But I know it's something important. So I just show up, I interview the person and do the work. And it takes a lot of stress away from you, just knowing that you don't have to worry about anything. Just show up and do what your guides are doing or telling you to do or putting in front of you. And this is maybe some of the messages you have been giving to people, right? That sometimes your guides or angels send people to you. They send people into your life either to give you a message or to give you a lesson or to help you or something. And this is something that's happening, and you've been telling people this in some of your messages, right? To be open to help from the angels. Why is it changing now? Is there something that's changing lately that's making people need more help?
Very much so. So we're going through this massive shift. This is almost the shift on this earth because we've definitely run out of time. So whatever we were supposed to doing in the awakening sphere, we haven't done. So we've been very, very lazy as humans. And so because life became comfortable and joyous and, luxurious and what have you, and we kind of became drawn to the material. And so the awakening took a really back burner. And now people are realizing that that is actually not why we are here. So the shift on this planet energetically is absolutely massive. And I love that exhale that you just did now. That shows just how heavy the shift has been for most of us, right? Because and I have spoken about this in some of my videos, but maybe for your listeners as well, and those that will be coming into this video, is I talk about it as grades at school, right? Because that's such a beautiful way to describe it. Because when you are going from and between grades there is like little tests and what have you, and that's okay, like we all need to go through them, and they feel heavy and they feel kind of draining, but they okay, we can manage them. But when you are shifting from primary school to a high school, when you're doing that big jump now, that jump is where we are now. So we are finding ourselves to go back into everything we've learned up to this point, everything we've decided upon, everything we've let go of, everything we healed up to now is almost coming back at us like a tsunami. And so a lot of people are feeling very lost in this period. A lot of people are feeling very negative, like giving up. I feel that a lot also in the messages. It's almost daily I say, don't give up, keep going, because it is important for you not to give up, because this is the test. You have to go through everything and say, I've already done it, I don't want it anymore. I really don't want it anymore. Now give me the upgraded version. Give me the version in which I can be true to who I am. And so because it is such an intense period at the moment on Earth, and we are feeling it, obviously the planets are playing their parts as well. So the planets are aligning in the way to support the awakening process, the shifting process, which in a nutshell basically means that our life is literally a havoc from an astrology point of view. So we've got all these retrogrades, we've got all the eclipses, because the full moons are much brighter than they've ever been before. So because everything needs to be happening now. We've run out of time already. So people need that extra guidance. People need that extra support. And if I can't hear it myself, because I haven't yet reached the frequency in which the angels can come to me directly, they will throw in someone that can give me the message. Again, if I'm willing to listen. And so you will find that for a period of time, your videos will be completely dead. They will have few viewers coming in because those are the people that are willing to listen. But once the upgrade happens and once it starts to bring people into alignment, more and more people are going to start being drawn to your message because that is the message that they need to hear in that moment.
Yes, yes, no, definitely. It's really the guides trying to communicate with us, and if one channel is not working, they're going to try a different channel. And if that channel doesn't work, they'll try a different channel because they really, really are incentivized for our well-being and for us to accomplish our goals, meet our intention, etc. So they're really there to help us, and they're going to come and bombard you with messages until you listen. So very, very grateful to our guides and angels. I wanted to talk about this card pack that you sometimes use in your videos. You've got this angelic pack of cards. I think it's called a tarot, or there's different names for it, and there's different types of them. But maybe just talk through that and how you use that, and how does that actually work? I mean, how is the angels making you pick a card? Like, I don't know. I know it works because I do it myself. I use the pendulum. Um, for me, it's the pendulum I use quite extensively in my work. So I know it works. I'm not questioning it works. I'm just curious, how does it actually work?
So tarot cards is something that I absolutely have no idea about. I admire people that can see an image and be like nine pentacles, and they have a whole lot of different meaning to it. So those people really learn the meanings of those cards, but the cards are also different. They don't necessarily have a message on them. They have a meaning behind them that then ties into the rest of the cards that the person has picked. The angelic cards that I use is because the interpretation for me is very easy, and also it is kind of just giving me like the heading for the message that I need to give to the people. And as soon as I read the message and I look at the picture, I start getting the downloaded messages. So I start tuning into the psychic, if you can call it that, and I start receiving the messages for people. And when I started these messages, I thought it'll be these 30 seconds quick messages, and now I'm like recording 8 minutes, and I'm stopping it at 8 minutes because I know Facebook only allows upload up to 8 minutes. So, sometimes I'm literally pressing the stop button at 8 minutes and I'm like, whew, I just made it. Or I have to split the video into two because the messages are really becoming more intense. And I feel that there is so much more that people need to hear, that it's not just this quick message that doesn't really go deep enough. There is a lot more unpacking that has been happening, and I'm seeing it from where I've started to now. I can see that the messages are becoming more and more and more, and it's almost like I can record 5 messages in one go because that's how much information is coming. And I do feel that it's because people are hungry to learn where they can go, because what is happening to them at the moment here is just not working. So I think that it is you in the messages from the cards, you are looking at the picture, you are looking at the colors, you are looking at what stands out in the picture, what is in the corners, maybe hiding somewhere. You look at what the wording says. And I believe that the way the cards are chosen is because it is divinely guided for that day, for the people that are ready to listen to that message. And you will notice, if you've watched a couple of the videos, or even other people that are shuffling cards, is that when you're shuffling, sometimes cards will fall out, and sometimes it's just a singular card, and sometimes it'll be like 3, 4. I've had cards where there was like 7 cards, and I'm like, whoa, okay, well, that's a lot of messages. But when you start looking through the messages, you will see that they all tie to one specific thing. It's just that there needs to be a little bit more information for you to get the full picture. And sometimes the card will kind of be pushed in the pack. I wish that I had mine here. I'm actually not 100% sure where my cards even are at the moment. Um, so the one card will kind of stick out, and you know that that's the card. That answers your question as to how it is chosen.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I did put you on the spot there asking about the cards. Maybe I should have warned you, but it just a question that popped into my mind. How the angels and guides, they all communicate in different ways. And I found those cards very powerful as well when I did use them. Um, I think there's different packs now that you mentioned. So there's a tarot pack. I know a fairy pack. There's a wisdom of the fairies, I think, and you're using an angelic pack. So you just shuffle the cards. You can think about a question. You can think about some sort of intent, and then you just take a card out, and it is like so accurate in the advice that you have. Especially, I think when quite genuine in what you're trying to get. So there is some energy out there that is communicating through the physical world to us. And these cards is one way. Um, I'm a big fan of the pendulum. I also believe this is how angels, guides talk to us. So it's the pendulum, unfortunately, can only give you a yes no answer. So you have to answer. If you learn how to use it, yeah, if you learn how to use it, it becomes very, very, very useful. And I've now started using my pendulum, which is my way of getting advice from my guides or angels throughout the day. And they always somehow give me the lessons that I need to learn.
And I also want to sorry, I also want to say that to the listeners, because I think that's so important. I think at the moment there is a lot of rules and regulations as to how you can do this and how you can do this, and only if you do this then you are trained enough to receive this. And people need to be initiated, and they believe that without the initiation they are not good enough to be connecting with their true soul being. Okay, and I just want to say that there is no right or wrong, guys. A lot of people that I work with are struggling with this concept of I need to be trained, or I need to do it completely the right way. Tell me the right way. Tell me exactly step by step. It's like cooking. Give me a recipe. Well, there isn't none. There isn't any. Just throw in some salt, do some spices, and see what you want to create. It's your process. Your dish should be different to my dish. If we all end up cooking the same dish the same way, nobody's going to go to restaurants because everybody's just going to end up eating the same food. That's not what we're trying to do here. You have different path here to me. So when I shuffle cards, I will do it differently to you because I'm on a different path. Does it make sense? So I just wanted to put it out there to the listeners, not to be confused with doing it the right way. And if it's not the right way, I've done something wrong. There is no such thing. In the angelic realm, there is no such thing as right or wrong. Everything is right because everything leads to something else.
Yeah, that's very good advice. That's very relevant for people because they all want like the roadmap or like the exact procedures and steps to go by. But I don't think you need to figure out your own way. And I love the word create. You need to create your own path. And that is by playing and trying. And it's okay to fail. I assure you guys, I failed lots of times. I mean, Pavli, like this is maybe a good example to bring up. Like last year around this time, I came to see you and I was very distraught about a patient that I had at the time. I had made him some energetic radionics medicine, and that triggered a healing crisis for this patient. And he got a severe rash all over his body. And that was like a very big test for me. I came to you and you connected with the angels and guides and gave me some good advice at the time. But that experience, when I went through it, was like, oh man, I should close down my practice. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I almost killed this person. Or, I mean, that's at least what I thought. But the angels, through you, gave me a message to say, well, no, this is a learning. You need to learn. This is good. And since then, I have now taken a lot more respect for the medicines that I can make. It's energy medicine, you know, it's very, very powerful. You need to treat it with the respect that it deserves. And it's an energy that we can't see or perceive or feel or touch, but it's it's there and it has immense power. And also now I use that to tell every single patient that I see now. I tell them this can happen to you. This is a case that I had, so just be aware and understand that this is somehow sometimes how the medicine can work. So that information from the angels at that time was, you know, paramount to supporting me and just giving me some extra comfort to know how to go about it.
Absolutely. And the growth here is that you must always trust that what you are doing, if you have a pure intent, you cannot do harm. If the person is in ego and they still have a lot purging to do, they will go through that as a result of seeing you. But that's got nothing to do with you. That's the process that they decided to start through you. And so the trust here is absolutely paramount, because you as a practitioner need to believe in your pure intent. And therefore, nothing bad can happen through that. Because my patients, you know, energy work, we have energy detox that some people experience in an extreme painful scenarios. I mean, these people are in agony. And I used to go into this spasm and complete panic, and I'll be like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? You know? And eventually I just eased up and I'm like, yeah, absolutely normal. Feel into the pain for a day. Tomorrow it will be better. And they wake up the next day and they hate me on that day because they're like, oh my God, I feel so much worse, Pavli. What the hell did you do? And I'm like, just stay with it. It's the process of purging. Remember, I start the process. It has to be completed before it's done. And the next day they'll phone and they'll be like, oh, wow, I haven't slept like this for years and I feel so much better, so much lighter. I feel like 100 kgs has lifted off my shoulders. Wow. But the process before they get there is so painful that the people, like your patient, for example, that is not ready for it, or they still very much uh, what's the word that I'm looking for? Like they are very stable here in the physical realm with the ego. They will be completely shocked by it, and they will say that you did something wrong. So that projection at I'm going within and I'm going through this really powerful process that is going to be so good for me, but because it's uncomfortable, I don't want it. You did it. You caused it. And that's where you kind of have to be like, nope, I trust what I do and I know what I do. This is not me. This is yours. So almost giving it back to the person, because they really need to feel it. They need to be in the emotions that is kind of evoked from that. Does it make sense?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I was just thinking, you know, like we're guides to people here on earth, but our guides, our angels are guides to us. And lately, I've also been going through a lot of turmoil, especially with the full moon. And like you said, it's bringing up issues from the past that we need to clear and cleanse. And I was just thinking, like, I'm aware of what's going on. You know, I feel this turmoil, I feel this past trauma coming back, and I know, okay, this is some work I need to do. But there's so many people who would maybe feel these things but have no idea what's actually going on. They're just having past traumas or triggers into their life and getting overwhelmed emotionally but not knowing what's going on. And this is really where your message is coming to tell them, hey guys, this is actually what's going on here. You need to do this and this. This is the message that you're not getting. And I think that's really, really powerful in this great awakening. I'm already seeing the numbers of your videos. The views are just keep on steadily rising. It's so amazing to see. That's just testament, right? More people are, like you said, hungry for this information, hungry and thirsty for this knowledge, these pearls of wisdom. So we're coming to the end of our show. I don't know if you had a comment, but I was going to say, is there a message from the angels for us?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So actually, I think this is really nice closing kind of, not a statement, but maybe a closing thing. I don't know what to say, what to call it, but anyway, people will take whatever resonates with them. But, and it ties up with what you said, right? That when you're going through these shifts, old stuff and old trauma comes at you. And what you said was, and I know that I have more work to do. No, you don't. Your work is done. Guys, when we're going through an upgrade, the old stuff is coming only to test whether we still want to go back into that or whether we are now choosing to let it go and upgrade to the next thing. And I'm actually going to be doing a video about it today. So guys, if you are listening and you know that you might have heard my video, I think before this video will be uploaded. So you might just see this from every angle because this is such an important message. You don't have to do absolutely anything. There is no more healing that you have to do. It's now a decision time. Now you have to make a choice because that's already old. It's done. You've done whatever you needed to do with it. Now you just have to decide whether you keep taking it with you or whether you are ready to let it go. And so maybe changing that mindset of, ooh, okay, well, this is interesting. This is coming for me again. Okay, well, I feel that I've done the work and I've dealt with this already. And I'm recognizing that this is the ego repeating the same cycle again. I've got the same thoughts in my mind. I have the same fears coming up for me. I have the same limiting beliefs that I've already had before. I'm in a different space though. So am I going to go back? Am I going to be sucked right back in? Or am I going to be mindful of the fact that this is just the ego trying to lure me back in? And therefore I'm allowing this to pass, which means that I don't do anything with it and I'm just observing and I'm sitting in it. And I still feel all the turmoil. I still feel all the emotions. But I know I still trust that this is no longer the truth. And another message that's really, guys, if you're taking anything from today's recording, take this. Like the last 2 minutes of the recording. Before you upgrade, the darkness is the darkest. Your shadows are going to be absolutely the strongest because this is the ultimate test. So the shadows need to be overwhelming, big, massive, scary, so that when you walk through the shadows, your light will be so illuminous and you will just become so powerful as a being. So remember that when you feel these energies with such intensity, rest assured that you are just stepping through the shadows. So trust the process.
Trust the process. Guys, I am going to leave details to Pavli's Instagram and her TikTok and her Facebook. Please go show her support. And I guarantee you the videos that she's putting out are going to support you through this great energetic shift that's going on. I feel it. I know a lot of other people feel it. And if you need some tips, what are the angels telling you? Go to Pavli's social channels and show her the support. Check out her videos. There's pearls of wisdom that are definitely going to be useful for you. Pavli, thank you so much for your time. I know you have a very busy morning, and I'm so grateful that you have taken your time, shared your wisdom, helped us understand what's going on. And yeah, we really appreciate
No, thank you, Deepak. It's been such a pleasure being here on your podcast again. I absolutely love your channel and I love the work that you are doing, and keep doing it because it's definitely needed.
Thank you very much. And till next time, ciao for now.
Take care.